Okay, that's the recording. Okay. Alright, hey everybody. I'm the guy sitting in the corner, the dark corner in the back of the classroom. Today, we get to read a book by a guy named Raymond Carver, who also happens to be a lumberjack at some point, and he liked to pick flowers. So you know he had to write an awesome book. Now, despite your anxiety about such a boring title for a story, there's actually no mentions of anything like a cathedral until the very end of it. So, let's go over the actual story itself. Now, you basically have a bunch of random stupid stuff that happens and a bunch of unnecessary elaboration, but long story short, there's a narrator, and this narrator has a wife, and this wife worked for a blind guy because she needed to make money. Now, the wife is basically really fed up with her husband at the time, who wanted to move all over the frickin' country because he was an Air Force ROTC. Or not Air Force ROTC. He was being an officer in, he's going to officer school or something like that. Now, long story short, she stops working for the guy after summer, and then he goes, they basically just keep in contact by sending each other tapes the entire time, and the tapes are, you know, just her just complaining, like a Tumblr vlog or something about her life. And he sends tapes back to her, and that goes on for a while until she divorces her husband and starts going out with the narrator. Now, later on, the blind guy's wife dies, and he is homeless or something. I don't really know. It's not in the text. And he goes to live with the narrator and his wife, or stay over there, or something like that. And what winds up happening then is he comes out, okay, throughout the entire story, it's pretty important to know that the narrator's idea of a blind person is the super stereotypical, slow, sluggish guy with big shades on and a cane, and he's super crappy to have as a friend. So that's pretty important information. He's just kind of stereotypes the blind guy the entire time. All he's ever heard of him, he's like, oh man, blind people suck. So, yeah, that's important information there. And afterwards, he basically comes over, and they're chilling, they eat dinner, they drink a lot of alcohol, and then they get super, super stoned and just smoke weed all night. The lady passes out, or the wife passes out, and the guys are just staying up all night. God, this is a long story, and I read really slow too, but they basically stay up all night watching, you know, random TV, and the show about cathedrals comes on, and the blind guy basically asks them, he's like, hey, what does a cathedral, you know, can I ask you something, are you religious, blah, 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 what does a cathedral mean to you? And the narrator is that 3 minutes or 4 minutes?
3.
3? Okay, I got 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes left. It's like, blah, 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 what's a cathedral mean to you? And then he's like, well, a cathedral is, you know, nothing to me, I'm not really religious and all that, it's just a building. And then the blind guy's like, he just talked about cathedrals for a good minute. And then eventually he's like, alright, I got something fun for us to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get pen and paper, and then they do that, and then the blind guy puts his hand on it, his hand, while he's got the pen in his hand, and they start drawing a cathedral. Eventually the blind guy says, alright, close your eyes, and the narrator closes his eyes, and then he starts drawing the cathedral more and more, and he gets super into drawing an awesome cathedral with his eyes closed. And then, by the end of it, the blind guy's like, alright, now look at what you drew. I bet it looks awesome. And then the narrator's just like, you know, I probably should open my eyes, but I just really don't feel like it. So, that's the punchline. That's the awesome part. The big awesome thing about this is, I guess, in the most, you know, okay, I should probably relate it to something. I don't know, it's really about, like, stereotypes. Like, I don't really think I've ever stereotyped people that much, except for blonde girls. Some blonde girls really come off as stupid, but I know a couple blonde chicks and they're not actually that dumb. So, I guess that works. And that's me relating it to something. But the most important part probably is the rhetorical analysis of the book. It's just really about how we perceive other people. Like, this guy's this guy's, got anxiety about a blind man, and, he's only heard, stuff about blind people through books or movies or stuff on TV. And eventually, he's drawing this cathedral that the blind man has never even seen in his entire life and only knows about through the program that they're watching on TV. And he realizes, that whenever he closes his eyes, literally, he opens them figuratively. That's deep stuff. Alright, turn it off.